Now that we can get the player to jump immediately when the game starts. This was made possible because the add_force method was in the start function. Let's transfer this line of code into the update method. And within the condition of the if statement, we will use the input class to call the getKeyDown method. And this method uses a key code that is mapped to a physical key on the keyboard. This space denotes the spacebar key on the keyboard. We will cut the add_force line of code from the start method and paste into the if statement block. Save your work and return to Unity to see the output. Next, we will add obstacles that the player can jump over. Simply drag any of the available obstacle to the scene view and then rename it to obstacle in the inspector. Add a box collider to the obstacle. Edit the collider with the Edit Collider option of the game object. Then click the override option of the prefab to apply all. Now to move the obstacle in the left direction, simply create a script and call it Move Left script. Select the obstacle game object and add the script to it. Now use transform.translate to move the obstacle to the left. Let's add vector3.left and a speed of 20. And to ensure uniform movement used across different platforms, let's add a time.delta time. Play the game to see the outcome in Unity. So far, it is only one obstacle moving on the left axis, but having to move just one obstacle to the left is not enough. So let's spawn several obstacles at different intervals. Create an empty in the hierarchy and call it Game Manager. Create and add a Game Manager script to this empty you just created. And then launch the Game Manager script in the studio. Since we will be spawning the obstacle, let's declare a game object variable for this obstacle and call it obstacle prefab. Save your project and in Unity, drag the obstacle to the obstacle prefab option in the inspector. Next, let's declare the position we would like the obstacle prefab to spawn at and call it spawn position. And inside the start function, let's assign value to the spawn position on just the x-axis while the y and the z remain as default. Now, let's instantiate our obstacle in a predefined custom method instead of using the update method. And let's call this spawn obstacle. And within the instantiate braces, we will pass three parameters. Name of the game object to spawn. In this case, it is the obstacle prefab variable we declared earlier. The spawn position, and lastly, the rotation of the game object as defined in its transform component. Next, we will call this method in the start method by using just the method name with an open and close braces. And on trying it out in Unity, the method was called only once because the start function can only be called once in the game lifetime, which is the moment the game starts, and the next time you will see this obstacle again is when you restart the game. This is not exactly how we want it. So let's use a built-in method called invoke repeating to call the spawn obstacle method repeatedly. This method takes in 3 parameters: the name of the method, the amount of time it delays before calling the method, and the time interval in seconds before it will call the method repeatedly. Let's use 2 as the time it takes to delay before calling the method, and 1.5 as the repeat rate. Save your work and try it out in Unity to see the result in action. This is exactly what we want, and before we wrap up, let's use a variable instead of using these hard-coded literals. The 2 is our start delay, and the 1.5 is our repeat rate. Now our line of code is looking tidy. This is where I'll draw the curtain. Kindly subscribe to our channel if you find this video helpful. So I'll see you guys in the next video.